Today's video is going to be all about reverb. I will share with you 3 different reverb techniques that I like to use on my tracks or on my mixdowns. And I actually prepared this little loop right here where I want to demonstrate and show you my 3 different techniques. But first, my name is Jonas Fasching. I'm a music producer from Switzerland. And most importantly, just grab yourself a coffee and get yourself comfortable and let's enjoy this video together. Alright, so this is how this loop sounds like. So yeah, I want to demonstrate you my 3 different techniques on this lead sound right here. And until now, it's quite a simple lead sound. It has a delay on it, so this makes it a bit more interesting. And there's also this ozone imager on it, which already gives it some stereo width. Without the imager and without the delay, it sounds like this. So I think that's already quite a big difference. So let's turn these back on, and maybe I can turn it off later on in the video if I combine it with a reverb. So for these 3 techniques, I'm going to use 3 different reverb plugins that I like to use. And yeah, I'm just going to show you the different options that you have on these different plugins and how they sound like. So the first technique is going to be all about sidechain compression on the reverb. And I'm really excited to share this with you. And yeah, let's get going. So for the first technique that I want to share with you, I'm going to use the Pro R by FabFilter. So this is the FabFilter Pro R and how it looks like with the default settings. And if I now send in my lead sound, what's really cool about this reverb is that you can actually use this equalizer right here. So you could take away some low frequencies, for example. And on most reverb plugins, you actually have a high cut. So you can only just manually adjust a high cut, for example, or a low cut. But here you really have a lot of options. You can create as many bands as you want to and really shape the frequencies of the reverb or the inside of the reverb. So as I said, the first technique is about sidechain compression. And what I mean with that is that right now the lead sound is getting masked a little bit by the reverb. So you cannot really clearly hear the lead sound anymore. It's a bit washed because of the reverb and it just doesn't cut through in the mix that good anymore. And I want to enhance this a little bit and bring back the lead sound a little bit more to the front. And how I can do that is to use a compressor. So I'm just going to use the standard compressor by Ableton. So I'm going to put the compressor on the return channel, on the reverb. And then I'm going to use as an input from the sidechain, I'm going to use the lead sound. So the lead sound now triggers this compressor. And every time the lead sound plays, the reverb gets stuck a little bit. Now, of course, you can now play around with the different parameters, and also the intensity is really up to the specific sound design thing that you want to achieve with this. But I think the release is now really important because this just defines how long it takes until the whole reverb comes back to full capacity. Now you can hear this swell basically. So let's listen with all the other things together, so maybe it's easier to put the setting right when we hear everything else as well. So I made the reverb now a little bit longer and I also adjusted the EQ a little bit. And I think that with this setting right here, I can already hear the lead sound much better again. So let's just compare it with the compression and without it. Maybe I'm also gonna only add here a little bit less of the reverb. And what I also want to do now is actually add another sidechain compression, but this time with the kick drum. And this just makes also a little bit more room for the kick drum. It just glues everything a bit more together also. So let's just turn these off again to compare it. So yeah, I really like this technique with the sidechain compression. I think it just cleans up the mix a little bit and makes the signal that you want to put the reverb on a little bit more defined. So for the second technique that I want to share with you, I'm going to use the Valhalla Room plugin. I really love this plugin, and I think it's my most used reverb plugin, and I use it on a lot of different things. And this technique is actually all about stereo width on the reverb channel. So let's just create another return channel, and let's add the Valhalla Room plugin to this, and let's make it a little bit longer as well. And let's just mute the first one, and let's send the lead into this Valhalla Room. So maybe you can hear right now that the lead sound is already quite wide because I put a imaging plugin on it, and also the reverb of course is very wide, and both together it's just like makes this mix of like wide sounds, and it's not really defined. So what you can do now is actually just put the reverb to mono, and this way the contrast between the lead sound and the reverb will be much bigger, and you can definitely hear much better which one is the reverb and which one is the lead sound. So let's just do that with a utility plugin. Let's just put the utility plugin after the reverb and then just put it to mono. And now let's listen how it sounds like right now. So yeah, now the reverb is really like in this tunnel basically, and the lead sound is like right here, and they are really separated from each other. Now of course you can also just do the opposite, like you can make the reverb white, like leave it as it is, and then keep the lead sound in mono, or like keep it narrow. So I'm just gonna turn off the imager and also the delay. Now you have it like the opposite way, like right now you have the lead in the middle and you have the reverb on the side. And I think it's always good to think about this, like where is my signal and where is my effect, and like separate them sometimes a little bit. And if you want to actually also learn more about stereo width, I already made a full tutorial about stereo width, so just click this link right here. All right, so now let's just listen to this reverb again. And let's actually add the imager and the delay back again. So yeah, now it sounds really more like a tunnel, and I actually want to add something a bit more special to this reverb, just as an idea that I just had. I want to add a gate to this channel, so let's put the gate on here, and then I'm gonna add another MIDI track and just insert here like operator, so just a random synthesizer, and then I'm just gonna create this trigger signal. So this would sound like this, and let's just loop this, and now you can turn it off again so you don't hear the trigger signal. So let's actually also rename it trigger, and I'm gonna use this as the input on my reverb here, and this way the gate now gets triggered by this trigger signal basically. And let's hear how this sounds like. Let's just turn down the threshold a little bit. Now it's definitely not a normal reverb anymore. Now it sounds maybe a bit more like a delay or just a sound design effect. But I think you can really, like with these return channels and with these reverbs, you can really get crazy with them. And I love to do that, you know, like I love to do these, try out just random things that maybe like aren't being taught in school, you know, like. And now I'm just gonna add also a little bit of saturation in the end. So I really like this plugin Saturn by FabFilter, because here you can like manually create different bands where you want to add saturation. So I'm just gonna add a little bit saturation in the high frequencies. I mean, you could also do here another pattern, right? I mean, this is not only limited to these 8 notes. And now, of course, we can also do the same effect again from before and just use the lead sound again as an input on my sidechain compression. And also the kick drum again. That's the second technique that I wanted to show you. Now the third technique that I want to show you is actually a bit like strange, I guess, but it's a reverb that I absolutely love, and that is more like also, I think it goes more into this section of sound design. It's actually the Valhalla Shimmer. So let's just add another return track. And let's add the Valhalla Shimmer onto this return track. This is how it looks like. And as I said, it's more used for sound design purposes, I think, because it just adds this like glimmer, airy sound that makes everything a bit magical, in my opinion. Yeah, let's just try it out. Let's mute the other 2 reverbs, and now let's send in the lead into this reverb. Now on here, I'm gonna just put the mix also to 100% and the reverb mode to big stereo. Now the shift right here will actually like take the input signal and shift it by a particular amount of semitones up or down. And right now, if it's at 12, everything is just shifted 1 octave above. So the signal that comes out of this reverb will just be much brighter already because of this setting. And let's also add some feedback. And now let's hear how that sounds like. So as I told you, this reverb is really one of a kind, I think. It really sounds very specific, and it doesn't really sound like a reverb anymore. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a pad now almost, right? And also with the diffusion, it's actually really interesting when you set it to like less than 6. You have this like reverse sound. I love this sound. I love this sound. It really gives me chills every time I listen to this. Now, of course, you can also automate these different parameters on the plugin. So you have to do this on the return channel and just add a automation right here. So let's just actually automate this diffusion knob. So yeah, it's almost more like a delay. And let's actually also cut away the lows a little bit on this, because it's just very heavy. Now, with these kind of reverbs, yeah, like I said, it's more like a sound design thing. So you could also like record this reverb, and then you have it as a audio information. So let's just create an audio track right here, and then I'm gonna solo this reverb. And on here, on this audio channel, I'm gonna use resampling as an input. And when I now record this, so yeah, this is just one way how you could really control a reverb also and have more information about it, because now we have the whole reverb of this return channel here just printed out as an audio file. And I think this is just also a nice way to see where it maybe is a bit louder or where there's maybe some problems, and this way you can really have a bigger influence on it. And I mean, you could also just use this track here without the lead sound, right? Because this is already a really nice pad specific sound effect thing that you could use. And of course you can also send this reverb into a reverb again. Alright, I could go on forever. I love to mess around with these things. I hope that you could take away something from this video. Maybe it's just a plugin, maybe it's just an idea or a sound design technique. If you have any other ideas, let us know in the comments so everyone else can read it. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for further videos like this one in the future. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.